Hi and welcome to this little video on GCSE art support, looking at initial ideas and developed ideas. So, initial ideas. So if we just work back from an example such as this, if we think about this as the final piece, so the realization of an artist's intentions, that's the end of the journey. So if you were to reverse back from that then, and think, well, how do I get to that? If you think this is a successful final piece, it looks successful, it's rendered successfully, it's appropriate in terms of maybe composition, typography, style, size, materials, techniques. How do you get to that point, okay, without making bad decisions or it not turning out as successful or as you wanted it to look? So you normally start with, obviously, a series of ideas, a series of sketches, and this would be the same for any designer of anything from skyscrapers to trainers, really, or CD music design. So you can see, sketchbooks vary from computer generated, very sharp graphical to very finite sketchy. So you can see at the bottom here some very rough sketches here to maybe explore different compositions, and you can see, if you look back in here, you can see the boat in the final one, but you can see maybe the initial sketches of what could that look like. Also some notes in terms of, there's some notes here that talks about mood, and also talks about maybe technique, oil painting. And then you can see some more developed sketches. So we've got some reference material to classic hot air balloons. We've got some experiments of different typography, individual letters, full words. We've got some small elements of composition again, some references to the boat, to the kite, to the waves, to different angles of the boat. So all this is like exploring, refining and developing that concept, which is very much ideas and development. And then we've got a mapped out composition, so this is developing that idea further. So the artist has chosen some of the key elements, got the boat, got the kite, got the hot air balloon, got the typography. So if we look back at the final one, you can see you're still not there with that composition. There's no balloon on the right hand side there. We've got this one in the foreground, so still exploring different elements. And then maybe use of colour as well. So if you are going to produce a colour piece like this, the first thing is you need to decide, obviously, is what colours, what mood and atmosphere, what materials. Is it going to be oils? Is it going to be acrylic? Is it going to be pastels, watercolour? Where do you put the balloon? Is it the foreground, the midground, the background? Where do you get the reference material for the balloon? Is it from a photograph you've taken? Is it one from the internet? If you had typography on a final piece, what fonts, what font size, where is it going to go? So all of these decisions, don't happen by chance. They happen through working through a developed process. And this is where ideas and development come in, evidencing all the decisions that you are making. So you can't jump from, here's my idea, to this is what I'm going to do, can I get on with a final piece? It doesn't work like that. You have to show all the decisions you've made, the logic in why you made those decisions, how you made those decisions. And that could be through swatches, experiments, annotation and sketches, photographs, collage, any medium that is appropriate to your intentions. So you can see, start to explore different colour options, different compositions, different settings. Okay, so that's just one mini sort of illustrated artist ideas and development. So let's look at some student work. So this is a project that was around still life and objects. This is just to show you that ideas can be presented in a multitude of different ways. It's a very fine art approach. Looking around fruit, looking around the style of Jackson Pollock, one of the abstract expressionist artists, and also Franz Klein. So we've got two artists involved in here, and those ideas are synthesized together, picking out key elements of the artist's work around this sort of object of the fruit in the artist's style. So looking at different ideas around that. Okay, so we're picking out key elements within the artist's work. I could paint like this, you know, I would draw this, I might do this, here's an idea around this. At this point, purely that's all they are, exploratory initial ideas with some annotation to help the viewer really understand what their intentions are on the page, what they could do, and this is a key word, could do, if they developed one of these ideas. And that's all they are. They're saying, these are my thoughts, might be some good ones in here, might not be some good ones. These are my thoughts, I could develop them in this way. Okay, another one, this is around a teapot, looking at Klein and Pollock again. So we're showing through ideas, different renderings, different styles, different colours. I could, I might do this. If I do this, this is what it'll look like. So exploring those thoughts all the time. And then the student has decided on a route forward, which we're calling development. So they're talking about taking part of the still life objects, which is this bowl of fruit, the apples, and now they're starting to just keep with that one concept and exploring different compositions, different materials that we could use here. So in here we've got paint over newspaper, we've got it looks like oil pastel over newspaper, we've got collage on there, we've got printmaking, we've got black and white, we've got colour. And then we've got some other elements mixed in. We've got the teapot and the fruits, picking out elements of the artist's work, and you can see it's, you know, similar objects reproduced 2 or 3 different ways, but we're making decisions and we're showing those decisions all the time that are being made through the annotation and through the experiments. Yeah, you don't need to understand the project necessarily, because I think hopefully what you can see is the thoroughness of development and the fact that it's visual and that it changes and it repeats to show different material use, different technique use. Okay, another candidate's work here. This one was around objects and it was around music, the student's interest in music, and it was about headphones. And the artist that was looked at, I think, was Gilbert and George, particular graphic style, photographic light boxes used, tiled effect, and you can see we've got the student here with the headphones on and showing ideas. You can see that they're all very individual ideas, but there is a theme that runs through. So we've got this tiled effect that's obviously come from the artist. Got lots of really interesting annotation that helps the viewer understand what the ideas are about. So it's very much I could have my face like this, I could have it like this with CDs for the eyes, I could have it zoomed in, I could have it on a cube, I could have music on. So these are very much, you know, here's my initial thoughts, and again very different. Again, this is very black and white, this is very graphical in style, very different to the fine art style that you saw before. So from that, this student has decided to develop this particular idea around this here, which is the face, possibly with the CDs for the eyes. So he's taken that one idea in the middle and ditched all of the other ideas. So now he's got to show all the decisions that he's making as he goes along and how he's going to get from that initial idea to a successfully planned out final piece. So on this part here, we're talking about how do we go from a photograph through to maybe having something like it could have a speaker in the mouth, it could have CDs for eyes, and then we're talking about, right, okay, you know, if I decide to go for this one, if that's the decision I make at this point, okay, I'm going to look at different colours because Gilbert and George uses lots of very bright colours. So I'm going to try all of these different colours. Yeah, I'm going to try these different colours and I'm going to try those colours against this one composition that I've decided that I want to take forward. So I can see I'm trying different colours in the face. Yeah, so that's the first part I'm going to do. And then I've chosen the yellow one for the main colour of the face. Yeah, so I've shown what decision I've made. And then what I'm going to do is I'm showing the examiner, ultimately the teacher, other decisions I'm making. So I'm going to try different colours in the eyes of the CDs. Yeah, so after I chose the yellow colour as the main colour, I went on to experimenting with the colour of the inside of the CDs. Yeah, so I'm showing that, and then I'm showing the decision I made. Then I'm going to decide what I'm going to do with the speaker in the mouth, and I'm going to show all my individual thoughts and the one I decided to go with. And then I need to consider background. So what colours am I going to go for the background? Now this particular final piece is very graphical, and it's very similar to the artist's work. Now, as I say, you may have artist references where you need to consider paints or pastel or oil pastel or things like that. This is very digitally led, this particular one. You can see it's very different to the painterly led students' work that we looked at before. So this is obviously, easier in some ways because you can capture those decisions quite quickly through things like screenshots rather than having to do lots of manual experiments. So you can see the student has considered the background colours, and then also scale has needed to be considered as well. So you can see we've got the full face, then it's zooming in, zooming in, zooming in, and then he's made a decision about what scale he would have this portrait. And then some of the final decisions are around the number of tiles. So he's chosen his colours, chosen his background, he's chosen the scale, and now that final composition is, is it going to be 9 individual tiles? Is it going to be 4 individual tiles? And then from that, he's saying, this is my final idea. It's going to look like this. It's going to have blue in the background, yellow in the face, pink on the CDs, green in the speaker. It's going to be in 4 tiles. And then after that, he's planned all that out. He now then can go off and do or build his final piece, knowing that it's going to be nothing that he hasn't considered. And all of that journey has been demonstrated in his portfolio. Okay, hope that helps.